My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Welcome, my friends, to the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. If you would like to be part of the program this afternoon, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, 800-848-9222. Looking forward to finding out what is lurking in your mind today. The Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen, has taken a case. They're dealing with it today. I saw a sentence in it, and I said, oh, I know where this is from, and I was right. It's the little things. I know that doesn't mean anything to anyone else, but it's just so nice to have these little affirmations that happened. The Supreme Court's conservative majority on Tuesday signaled it will require schools to provide opt-outs for parents who have religious objections to LGBTQ plus books read in elementary schools, an outcome that would continue the court's years-long push to expand religious rights. Not expand, to recognize what the Constitution already declared. During more than 2 hours, this is from CNN, during more than 2 hours of feisty oral arguments in a high-profile case involving a suburban Washington, D.C. school district, that's the sentence. I read that sentence. I said, I bet this is Montgomery County. This has to be Montgomery County, Maryland. During more than 2 hours of feisty oral arguments in a high-profile case involving a suburban Washington, D.C. school district, the court's 6 conservatives appeared to be aligned on the idea that the decision to decline opt-out for books burdened the rights of religious parents. It has a clear moral message, Justice Samuel Alito, a member of the court's conservative wing, said during a spirited exchange with liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor. It may be a good message. It's just a message that a lot of religious people disagree with, he said. The court's liberal justices repeatedly pressed the idea that simply exposing students to ideas in a book could not possibly burden religion. A majority of the court seemed to suggest that in 2022, a decision that mere exposure to ideas doesn't amount to coercion of religious beliefs. Looking at 2 men getting married, is that the religious objection? Sotomayor pressed the attorney for the parents who challenged the books. The most they're doing is holding hands. But others on the court seemed open to finding a way to side with the parents. Like they have to search for something. It's in the Constitution. The country was founded on the principle of religious freedom. They don't have to search hard. It's right there in black and white. It is liberals that have tried to just do everything they can to diminish the role of religion in society, and especially religious parents from being able to object to the things that liberals want taught in schools that run counter to religious beliefs of not just Christian people, but of many religious people. Okay, several of the key conservative justices in the middle of the court asked questions suggesting they're concerned about the approach taken by the Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland. And there it was. Payoff. Yep, I knew it had to be them. Some of them noted the state law already requires its schools to opt students out of sex education if requested. So why? Here's the deal. These liberal zealots in Montgomery County, which they might as well be, they are as every bit liberal as the worst liberals in California when it comes to their ideology. This little enclave in Maryland, where you find a lot of government, by the way. This is, and believe me, folks, I've been to Montgomery County. I spent a lot of time in Montgomery County, near Rockville. NIH is over there. I spent some time at NIH. They're near Bethesda. It's in that Bethesda Chevy Chase, or Montgomery County. These are the people years ago. A woman brought a case against somebody smoking a cigarette outdoors. She was like almost a mile away and said that she could smell the guy, smell whatever it was. I forget. These are the people that wanted to ban people from having lights at night because it was night pollution or something. Yeah. So I forget what it was. It wasn't that. It wasn't like ban night lights everywhere. It was, I forget it. But these people are the liberal of liberals. They're the California version of liberals living on the East Coast in Montgomery County. So what they did, they were pushing all this LGBTQ plus agenda stuff in elementary schools, and then they said, and parents cannot opt their children out. They're going to force the children, regardless of the parents and the child's religious beliefs, they're going to force them into this indoctrination because these people are totalitarians. They think their view is it, and that's it. They're going to press this agenda no matter what. Now, look, I want to make it really clear. I am not a person that has any problem. You know, you're gay, you're gay. Okay, whatever. You're straight. Not, frankly, your sexual whatever it is not my business. And I don't want it to be my business. I don't care who you are. What your sexual orientation is, it's not my concern. It's not my business. That's your business. Live your life. Live and let live. I'm not telling you what to do in the bedroom. I'm not telling you what to do anywhere. But when you start trying to demand, just the same way, if in schools people were demanding that children be taught only about straight sex, and that's it, I would have a problem with that. First of all, leave it out of school. Leave your politics out of the schools. I understand sex education. You have to teach sex education. Supposedly, you have to teach these kids today with these iPads know more about sex by age 3 than we did when we were teenagers. But okay. But they're going to indoctrinate you and make sure that you have to read all these gay books in school? No, thank you. And I don't want the kids reading any straight sex books in elementary school. Leave it out of school. Leave all of that out of it. But no. Anyway, the arguments which came toward an end of a Supreme Court session that's become increasingly defined by legal challenges involving President Donald Trump at times seemed especially tense. At one point, Sotomayor attempted to interject as Alito was speaking about one of the books involved in the dispute. Wait a minute, Sotomayor jumped in. Can I finish, please? Alito fired back. It's like, oops. As part of its English curriculum, this is how they mask it, Montgomery County approved a handful of books in 2022 at issue in the case. One, Prince and Knight. Prince and Knight. Knig, like the chess player. Knight. Like your knight. Prince and Knight tells the story of a prince who does not want to marry the princess in his realm. After teaming up with a knight to slay a dragon, the two fall in love. Yeah, don't do your head like that because people will think that you are being anti-whatever, right? And you're not supposed to show reaction to that. I'm just telling you, if you do that in public, and I'm not going to say who I'm talking to because I don't want to identify the person, but if you do that in public, people will call you homophobic. They will tell you that you are bad names. So you're not supposed to show any reaction. You're just supposed to look poker face. No matter what comes at you, yes, you're supposed to have that poker face like, well, very well. Okay, so where were we? We were the book Prince and Knight. The prince doesn't want to marry any of the princesses. After he teams up with a knight to save the dragon, the two knights fall in love, filling the king and queen with joy. They must not want any offspring. Oops, excuse me. I'm sorry. That was ill-advised remark. But the whole point of being the king, I mean, how many stories have we seen from the beginning of time when they started making stories? What does the king want? The king wants an offspring. And he preferably, sorry ladies, wants a male offspring. Does anybody remember Henry VIII? What he had to go through? And then in the end, he ends up with two chickie poos that actually take over. The first one, of course, Queen Mary, as they call her, Bloody Mary, because she was so violent. And then Queen Elizabeth, who is probably the greatest English queen of all time. Let me rephrase that. Who is probably the greatest English monarch of all time. Because she was amazing. The Virgin Queen. Once you introduce sex, things get... Well, anyway, the Virgin, that's a whole nother story. Okay, so anyway, in another book, Born Ready, it's the story of Penelope, a character who likes skateboarding and wearing baggy jeans. When Penelope tells... When Penelope tells his mother that he's a boy, he's accepted. When Penelope's brother questions his gender identity, their mother hugs both children and whispers, "Not everything needs to make sense. This is about love." And so these are the books that were in question. Parents wanted to opt out. Montgomery said, no, you must make your children read these books. We don't give a damn about your religious beliefs. Screw your religious beliefs. Your kids are going to read and be indoctrinated into this lifestyle, whether you like it or not. So the case is at the Supreme Court. Some of the justices seem to be taken aback by the content. At one point, the attorney for the schools was explaining one of the books, which has since been removed. When Justice Neil Gorsuch jumped in, Gorsuch and several of his colleagues indicated that they read the books. This is the one where they're supposed to look for the leather and things and bondage, like that stuff. It's not bondage. Sex worker, right? No. Drag queen. The leather they're pointing to. Anyway, this is the stuff in Montgomery County books that they were demanding to force children reading into. Case at the Supreme Court. It looks like the justices are going to say, parents can opt out of this. Now, this is one of those things, again, if you say that, people are going to think, people on the left, that you're being mean, that you're being a hater, and you're not. I'm not being a hater. Parents are tired of having things forced down their throats. They don't hate. They just want to be left alone to just do their job as parents the way they see fit. That's all. It's not about hating anybody.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Chevrolet. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Chevrolet Certified Service Fresh Start Tire event. Visit Chevrolet.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only, highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm not sure why Abrego Garcia's rights should be denied based on a murder that he had absolutely nothing to do with.
That's Chris Van Hollen, who continues to try to feed off his photo op in El Salvador. We have soundbite from the other 4 Democrats that are down there now trying to make a name for themselves. We'll get to all of that. But I want to get to your calls because we've got some people that want to comment on the situation with the schools, of course, that being argued at the Supreme Court today. In fact, let's go to some of the phones right now. Thank you. Let's check in with Teresa. Teresa, welcome. How are you? Brooklyn, it says.
Hi,
you're
I'm
calling
fine,
from.
Bo. Nice
Good.
to meet you and nice to talk to you. I want to talk about this because this has affected my family. I just want to say my brother raised his kids to be Christian, and he sent them to parochial school, okay, to try to stay away from this nonsense of this gay thing, okay, woke thing, I should say. And now when they got to college, okay, all of a sudden they were brainwashed by the professors that this is what they are, okay? Why? Because maybe they had some kind of sexual experience with someone there because they were raised so Christian and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, you know, they're the other way. And they came out and they actually told us that this is what he was. And now we have to accept it. And it was a shock to the whole family, okay? I disagree with these schools. I disagree with everybody. I don't have any children, but if I did, I would move away to another world that they wouldn't be able to push this down my children's throat.
Teresa, look, I got to stop it there because time, but thank you for the call. We appreciate it, and we'll take more of your calls when we get back. James Golden, Snerdley. It is the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Do not dare go away.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Experience a progressive lens engineered with AI from Essilor, powered by individual measurements of your visual behavior. A lens personalized to you by an Essilor expert. Discover Verilux XR Track and enjoy instantly sharp vision in motion and seamless transitions from near to far. Find your local Essilor expert today at Essilor.com.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
But you told my colleague Dana Bash yesterday that you did not ask Abrego Garcia whether or not he's actually in MS-13. You said you know what his answer is. But how do you know if you did not ask him?
Well, because I know what he's said many times in court, and that's the proper forum for debating this.
Let me understand this. Folks, understand this. That was Van Hollen, Christopher Van Hollen. How do you know that Mr. MS-13 terrorist gangbanger isn't a member of MS-13? Because he said it in court. He said it in court. And of course, we're supposed to believe him. Why would we believe anybody in the law enforcement community that has investigated him and found that he's a member of MS-13? Why would we believe him? Why would we believe anybody in the Trump administration? We can't believe them. That's what he's saying. But I will take the word of a young gangbanger terrorist that belongs to a terrorist organization. I'll take his word over the word of people in American law enforcement and, of course, the Trump administration. That's Van Hollen. Remember everything when this guy comes up for re-election. Let us, since we delved into the soundbites, those of you on hold, please stay on hold. We have a lot of people who want to talk about the school situation. I want to continue to talk about that as well. And whatever else comes to mind, I cannot wait till the next time I check in with Princess Diana. This David Hogg guy, I'm starting to get a little bit different take the more I hear from him. And the more I hear from him, another thing is happening. Over the years, I've heard sound bites of David Hogg when he's made, and many of them have been kind of ludicrous and absurd. Of course, this guy rose to fame after the Parkland massacre. He was a student there. And if anything can stem you into activism, I understand that. And I've never, kind of joked about him going into public life after being a student in a school where you had active shooter killing people. Traumatic experience. This is a young man who even then started speaking out and decided to enter politics from there. He has worked his way up in a short period of time to become the vice chair, one of the 5 vice chairs of the Democrat National Committee. Now, he was on with Jen Psaki, and we've got almost 3 minutes of him talking about why he's raising the $200 million to try to unseat Democrats and primary them to get other new, fresh blood in the Democrat Party. And I will just say this about that. Many Republicans wish that we had somebody on our side willing to do the same thing from inside the party. On the conservative side, we would have loved to have seen some young blood inside the party rise up in the ranks and take on the rhinos. The rhinos, Carlos, those would be the Republican in name only, the rhinos. So I'm starting to, and I'm listening to this guy long form. Let's just play a little bit of it. Maybe we'll play more later. Let's cut one. This is David Hogg on with Jen Psaki.
specifics at this point?
So right now, let me be clear. This is not specifically when it comes to the candidates that we are targeting. It's not just, if you're over a certain age, you should not be doing this. Unfortunately, there are people of all ages who are failing to meet this moment in different ways right now. What we're looking at it's not out with the old and in with the new. It is out with the ineffective and in with the effective. And part of what we're doing with this announcement is waiting to see who retires here and says, you know what, it is time. I'm not ready to meet this moment anymore. And I know for a lot of our members that they will decide that ultimately.
Okay, I know. I love about you that you never hold back and you say what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, because James Carville said this was a crazy idea or a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now,
he also predicted we would win the election in a
a
landslide.
lot of people predicted that. What is true is a lot of people predicted that. Now, he is definitely not a young person. I don't think even he would say that. He did help a governor most people had not heard of in an unlikely path to the presidency.
Totally.
So I guess my question for you is, why take the bait and attack him back? Why in this moment?
I think the fact of the matter is we say over and over again, we just need to listen to the experts over and over and over. And of course, experience matters, but experience is only as useful as it's actually working. We had $2 billion last election cycle, and we still lost. And I think part of the problem that we have here is a major brand problem at the Democratic Party. When people go into the ballot box, they're not just thinking, how am I thinking about my frontline member of Congress, for example? That's obviously important, and we need to support those members, and we plan to support some of them, obviously. What they're thinking about, though, is what do I think about the Democratic Party? And that is the product not just of one member of Congress, but all of our Democratic members of Congress and what they're doing and how they're fighting back. And the fact of the matter is right now, we are failing to meet that moment around the country. And we're seeing it in our town halls. We're seeing it in our emails where people are saying we're not going to give money until there's major changes in the Democratic Party. And I want to make sure that that is used productively in safer seats to build the strongest party that we can, because it's not just enough to be the party that is not Donald Trump. We have to be a party that actively is working to provide a better vision than Donald Trump. And right now, I feel like we're lacking that in many senses. And our young people are uniquely positioned to be able to meet that moment right now.
Okay, that's enough of him. Look, folks, whatever you want to say about this kid, this young man, I think I have been guilty of looking at him through the lens of his teenage years instead of where he is now. As a teenager, this kid was out, when he just came out, of course he was driven by passion. So in the immediate years after the Parkland, when he was finding his voice, so to speak, I hate that phrase, but I used it anyway, a lot of things he said were nonsensical to me. He's beginning to sound a little less nonsensical about some issues. And I wonder if this kid is going to act, I keep calling him a kid, if this young man is going to grow into be a real leader for the Democrats. I can't wait to see what Princess Di has to say about that. All right, we've been playing some of the quotes from Christopher Van Hollen. I am trying to restrain myself from calling this man names, because I don't do name calling. I don't want to make an exception and start now, but I will tell you that I am incensed at that last quote that we have. How do we know he's not MS-13? Well, because he said so in court. So you're going to take the word of a gangster because he said so in court. How do you know you can just ask this of anybody that's up for trial, and how do you know that, sir, that he did not murder? Well, he said in court that he didn't murder his wife. Why would he lie? How do we know that he never raped her? Well, he said in court he never raped her. Why would he lie? How do you know, sir, that he didn't spend he didn't steal that $500,000? Weren't you in court? He said he didn't steal the $500,000. Is Senator Chris Van Hollen really that ignorant? This is an imbecilic statement. Now, we also have the Gang of Four. These four Democrats that went down. The young hotshot that's out always looking to get his face in the camera, Max Frost out of Florida, has been speaking. Someone asked him why he was there. Let's just play 2 and 3 back-to-back. This is Max Frost, another one. He's like a young Chuck Schumer. If there's a camera in the way, if you are in the space between a camera and Max Frost, you had better get out of the way. It's a dangerous place to be. So here's Max Frost, Democrat out of Florida, now in El Salvador.
Why, Congressman, are you in El Salvador? You are there for an El Salvadorian man who was a resident illegally of Maryland. You're a congressman from Florida. Why are you in El Salvador?
Well, we're here because a man who had protected status in Maryland, a Maryland man, union member, worker with a citizen wife and beautiful children, was taken out of his state and out of the United States back over here without due process. And for us, we're here for a couple of reasons. Number one is because every person in our country deserves due process. And we want to make sure that we draw the line here at Kilmar Garcia.
What do you know? Is there any chance you'll be meeting with Abrego Garcia while you're there?
Well, we're actually about to do a press conference to speak a little bit about this, but we got word at the embassy that our request has been denied by the government here locally. They say it's because we're not here on an official capacity. This is part of the reason why Representative Robert Garcia and I sent a letter to Chairman Comer of the Oversight Committee asking for this to be an official CODEL. But we're not giving up. We're going to continue. We have more meetings scheduled for the rest of the day. But part of this, too, is making sure that we keep the conversation alive. We're building off of the trip of Senator Van Hollen, and we're not the first members here, and we're not going to be the last.
Yeah. All right. So Fox did something special. They went to Maryland, and they did what we call in the business an MOS. It means man on the street. They did an MOS of people and they must have been in Baltimore or in either Prince George's County. You know how I know that? Oh, they're going to say I'm racist. Because there were so many black people on this MOS, it's got to be either Baltimore or PG, Prince George. When you're in Montgomery County, you're not going to, look, sorry, that place I was talking about before, Montgomery County, not going to be like that in Montgomery County. Now, when you're in PG County, yeah. And, or Anacostia or somewhere like that, yeah. Clinton, yeah. But it's not up in Montgomery County. So they did an MOS, and this was beautiful. Cut 6.
He was living in Maryland, designated MS-13 terrorist, and Donald Trump deported him. Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel?
I feel safer.
He gotta go. He gotta go.
Need to go. I mean, that's it.
But he was a father.
But he's still a terrorist.
Okay. I mean, but there's children living without fathers now.
He should have picked the tree, so he picked to be a terrorist instead of worrying about his children.
The Democrats, they want him back. They say he was wrongfully deported. He has a wife and a kid who's a citizen. They're calling this a national emergency. Is this a national emergency?
I wouldn't call it a national emergency. We got more things going on.
We have more things, more fish to fry.
I just found out about it, so I don't think so. What kind of national emergency? For what? What is the emergency for?
Ain't no national emergency, no.
He was accused of hitting his wife twice and was a suspected human smuggler. Was he wrongfully deported?
No. He need to go.
If he's a smuggler, yeah, he need to be deported.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Your senator here, Chris Van Hollen, he flew to El Salvador where this guy was deported. He met with them, had lunch with them, had margaritas on the table. What's up with your senator?
I have no idea, but I do believe that was a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Margaritas.
You agreeing with somebody whooping their wife, terrorizing where you live, then you don't need to live here either.
Senator Van Hollen, you need to come see me, Mr. Coley, because you doing like that. You need to take care of home before you go in other states.
He went to El Salvador.
Oh, that's another country, excuse me.
What has Senator Chris Van Hollen ever done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing.
For me, nothing.
Nothing that I know of.
He ain't do me. I can admit that.
I've never even heard of this person.
Do you want Kilmar Abrego Garcia, this quote-unquote Maryland dad, living back in Maryland?
No. No.
No. No.
Not if he's doing trafficking, no.
Why the I want somebody like that back? No.
What is your message to the Democrats who really want him back in your community?
Why would you want that in my community? Bring it to your community and see how long you like it up there.
Leave them, or y'all go over there with them.
You're focused on the wrong thing.
If they illegal come.
Yeah. Yeah, there's your Maryland father for you. That's man on the street in Maryland. James Golden Snerdley, your call's coming up. Keep it right here. Don't go away. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour Tuesday edition continues.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garten and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code listen50. T's and C's apply.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Snerdley. It is the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Dino has been waiting. Thank you, Dino. How are you this afternoon?
You're welcome, Bo. I got a brainstorm, and I just want to say I would like to say about Van Hollen going down there to represent for the Salvadorian, and also Max Frost or Maxwell Smart, should I say. Why don't we make a deal? Why don't these guys sign some kind of contract? Let the guy loose. He's not an MS-13 member. He's a good dad. He goes by the book. And now, dollars to donuts, I know if he commits a crime, let them take the weight for it, whatever it is. If, God forbid, he takes somebody's life, or God forbid something goes wrong, can these guys vouch to take the time that he's going to be given, like the senator? Can we lock him up? Will he sign a paper?
You know what? It would be great if somebody, I know it's a hypothetical, but it would be great if someone put that question to him. Would you be willing to stake your life, including make a pledge, that if this guy ever does anything wrong, you'll do the time? Great question, yes. Dino. Thank you. I appreciate the call. Rapid phones, we've got to move on to Rich in Westchester County. How are you, Rich?
James, my friend, today's political joke of the day. AOC has basically all but declared her candidacy to be our next president. As a result, political donations have been coming in from all over the country at record levels, mostly from Republicans.
Look, you may be joking about this, but AOC is being considered seriously as the new brand of the Democrat Party. And again, I wonder if one thing that we should never do is underestimate somebody else on the other side. We don't want to get caught like that. Like they have underestimated Donald Trump for years. Maybe we should stop underestimating this woman's capability and her popularity. I don't think she's a great politician, by the way. No, let me rephrase that. I don't think she's a great ideological thinker. But as a politician, she is maneuvering her way in record time. Thank you for the call. Wendy in Long Island. How are you this afternoon, Wendy?
I'm doing great. Thanks. So very quickly, I just want to say if the public school systems continue to behave the way they are, they'll be putting themselves out of business. because families won't want to send their kids to public schools if they could go to a private or a charter school or somewhere else.
By the way, one big thing today that I did not have time to cover, thank you, Wendy, and you are right. The student loan scheme is over. Caroline Levitt today announced, and it is announced by the Department of Education, time to start paying back your student loans, or else. We'll have that tomorrow if other issues don't predominate. We have that soundbite in the roster today. I wanted to play it today, but we'll get to it tomorrow. Anyway, my friends, that's it. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude always for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back for the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley tomorrow. And until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?